These days, Mars is in the headlines on a daily basis. As we look to the future of possibly settling the red planet, we need to make sure that it has the necessities of life. In this video, we're going to walk through the tutorial of Terraforming Mars and learn what that future might look like here on Legendary Tactics. Terraforming Mars is a game that has won accolades, and it's one that you're going to want to try. We're going to go through the tutorial of the digital edition and teach you how to play. We're going to start this tutorial by looking at the game structure. So in a big picture sense, what we're trying to do is to basically make Mars Earth-like enough to live on. And so there's a few things that we need to do to make that happen. And basically that's adding oceans, temperature, and oxygen to the environment. And we'll explain how that all works. In order to win, we'll start with that. You need to get a good Terraform rating, okay? And that's kind of like your base score, and then you add victory points to that. And there's a few different ways to score the victory points, but there is a distinction between them, okay? So you get your Terraform rating increased from 20. Everyone starts at 20, and you increase that by improving the global parameters or playing certain cards. Victory points are done by, again, playing certain cards, placing tiles on Mars, on the planet, on the board, or by claiming milestones and winning awards. And what that means, I'll explain right towards the end of the video. So there's the three global parameters, as I mentioned. There's temperature. We need to get that to 8 degrees Celsius. The oxygen level needs to be at 14%. And the oceans, there needs to be 9 ocean tiles placed on the map board. The global parameters are shared amongst all players. There are some cards, for example, that can't be played until the global parameters are at a certain point. As you improve the global parameters, you're going to open up options not only for yourself, but for other players. If you raise a global parameter, then it gives you an immediate bonus to the player that increased it. So we'll look at oceans first. You need to place 9 in total in order to complete the game. And then after that, there's oxygen. And that is raised by placing greenery tiles or with certain cards. So we need to get the oxygen to the top, which is 14%. Once we get it to 8%, we can increase the temperature for free. So there's a certain momentum that builds. After that, we have temperature. And the temperature begins at -30. And we need to get it to 8 degrees Celsius in steps of 2 degrees Celsius. And there's certain points there. Again, when it gets to -24, -20, you increase your heat production. We'll get to that in a minute. And reaching 0 degrees Celsius allows you to place a free ocean. So that's good. And then looking at the big picture, the game is divided into generations. And a generation is essentially a round, I guess you could say. You take as many turns as you like within a generation, and once everyone's passed, then that ends the generation. And then you begin by drawing new project cards and resources and that sort of thing to begin your next turn. Once you start a new generation, you've got these 4 steps of the game. You do the player order phase, the research phase, action phase, and production phase. The player order phase, really simple. The first player becomes the last, and all the other players bump up by 1. So you kind of cycle through who gets to go first. The research phase is where you buy new project cards, and each card costs 3 megacredits. I like to call them mega bucks. It just sounds to me cooler. And this is just an example of the cards here, and there's a lot of iconography. But don't sweat it. It's actually pretty straightforward. It took me a while to learn a game like Race for the Galaxy. For example, this one, you'll get the icons pretty quick. So we'll just select this card to buy it. And then after we've done the research, then we enter the action phase. And this is where, as I said, you do as many actions as you like until all the players have passed. So you typically do 2 actions per turn that you get in the action round. If you look along the bottom here, you'll see your resources, and the resources are spent to perform the different actions of the game. And if you look at this brown line here, that shows you the production. So that at the end of each generation, that's the amount of that given resource that you will receive. And so the first resource that you'll recognize very readily, you'll be using it all the time, is the megabucks, the mega credits. And these are used for buying and playing project cards and using standard projects. And again, we'll touch on those. Basically, project cards are, the cards that you have in hand. Standard projects are actions that are always available to all the players. And at the beginning of each generation, you gain your terraform rating plus your mega credit production in the mega credit resource. So, and as I said earlier, you can do up to 2 actions per turn. Once you've done those 2 actions, then you pass to the next player. But if you actually choose a pass action, where you choose to not perform an action, or you don't have the resources, then you select pass. That means that you cannot play for the rest of that generation. You can skip after you've played just 1 action if you like. And then the terminology they use is end your turn once you've done both your actions, and then it goes on to the next player. But just remember, if you take a pass action, that ends your turn for that generation. Okay, and we'll just do that for now because the tutorial wants us to skip ahead to the next generation. The purple player's here, but trust me, they're not much competition in the tutorial. They pass every time. Once everyone's passed their turn, ending the action phase, we move into the production phase. And first, your energy resources are converted to heat, and then you gain the amount of resources of your production for each type, which is that brown line that I mentioned. All right, and so this is just showing us our production going up and so forth. You got the heat being converted or whatever. So once all the global parameters are filled, then the game will end at the end of that generation. Okay, so once you've maxed out the oceans, the temperature, and the oxygen, then that it basically ends the game at the end of that generation, and you go to the final scoring part of the game. So the standard projects, as I mentioned earlier, these are always available to any of the players, and they cost megabucks, mega credits to utilize. So the sell patent action is where you can discard 1 or more cards from your hand, basically sell them back to the game for 1 mega credit per discarded card. So you just click on use, and let's say we want to pick the Noctis farming card. We want to get rid of that and get mega credit for it. Okay, the game will in the digital edition will open up your hand, and you can view the hand to see which ones you'd like to sell. We'll sell this one. We get a mega credit, and there she goes. So we get that credit there. So that is the sell patent. Now we look at power plant, and this allows you to increase your energy production by 1 step. And that, again, just referring to that brown line, that allows you to boost that so that at the end of every generation you're getting more power. Asteroid allows you to increase the temperature by 1 step, or 2 degrees, and it also increases your terraform rating by 1. So it's basically like victory point to do that. Aquafire allows you to place an ocean. So if you see here, this is the price. It's going to cost us 18 mega credits to take that action. And oceans can be placed on any designated spot on Mars, and they're not owned by a player once placed, but they're good for some increasing your terraform rating, and also you whenever you place a tile next to an ocean, you get an extra bonus of 2 mega credits. So we'll just place it here. You'll see there was a leaf there on that space that gives us the resource. We get that bonus resource when we place a tile there. So we're going to end our turn. Purple is going to pass, and it comes back to us. Now again, because purple's passed, we can, take as many actions as we want, basically without limit. Greenery is going to allow you to place a greenery and increase the oxygen level. In this case, it's going to cost us 23 megacredits, and it also, as long as you can increase the oxygen level, then you get a boost to your terraform rating. Sometimes later in the game, a given parameter is going to be maxed out, and you can still play the tiles or whatever. It just doesn't have any effect. And in this case, it would deny you that terraform rating boost. And so they need to be placed next to another tile that you own, if possible. And each greenery that you own gives you a victory point at the end of the game. So you're probably wondering, hey, where is a tile that I own? Now in the digital edition here, you'll see my color is green and I'm up against the purple player. So if you look at, there's an outline here on the tile. So you can see I've got a greenery here with a green outline, and so that is a tile I own, so I can place the tile next to that. Now if I place here, which the game is recommending, the tutorial is recommending, I'll get those two the two plant resources, but I'm also going to get 4 mega credits because there's 2 adjacent ocean tiles. So that's a good spot to pick. And so I'm going to go there, and that's going to give me a boost in a bunch of different areas. It's also going to boost the parameter. So placing a city allows you to increase your mega credit production by 1. Costs 25, a little bit steep. You can place it anywhere on Mars as long as it's not next to another city. And every adjacent greenery that where you place your city, so if I place this one here, this means I'm going to get 3 victory points at least by the end of the game. Okay. I also, because I'm placing it here, I get a bonus plant resource. So that again is a great spot to build a city and a good use of my resources. Now we'll zip along to the project cards. These ones are really, really interesting. Now the tutorial takes a bit of a detour here and says you need to select your corporation. The beginner corporation is where you probably would want to start. As it is kind of the standard. There's no special actions or effects that you need to keep track of. But as you get more used to the game, you're going to want to try some of the other corporations that give you kind of some neat bonuses. So the beginner corporation, very straightforward. You start with 42 mega credits and 10 cards that you draw for free at the beginning. Other than that, there's nothing to keep track of, but you can see there's a bunch of other ones where, Inventrix, you, as your first action in the game, draw 3 cards, and you start with 45 mega credits, and this got this effect and all that stuff. So, but we'll take some time to learn the game first, and then you can move on to make it more interesting and add more depth. So the corporation that we're going to choose is the beginner corporation, and so we get to draw 10 cards. Okay, so we're going to receive them, and then we open our project card in hand, and so this is our hand essentially, and so we can use these cards to improve the corporation situation, and this gives you a lot of the variety of the game, and they give you kind of some different benefits and that kind of thing that you can use to try and speed ahead of the other players. You can buy new project cards during the research phase, as you might recall, which happens at the beginning of each new generation. And also certain actions can give you new project cards. So we'll take the adapted lichen. And this is an example of an automated card, which is green. There's also event cards, which are red, and active cards, which are blue. Okay. Now this automated cards, I should say there's a cost to using the card, which is the 9 mega credits at the top. And the other side of it has what they call the tags, okay? And these place the cards in certain categories and can affect or be affected by other cards. So, and in the middle, this is the immediate effect of the card. Now, you don't get a plant resource, you actually increase your plant production by 1 step. So this is if you just want to double check the icons. Just read the bottom of the card there, and it'll explain what the card actually means. Once you're familiar with it, of course, seeing the icon gives you much more direct and quick information. There is a little information button there as well if you want to read the full description of the card. So we're going to use this card. We're going to spend 9 megabucks to do so, and we got our plant production boosted by 1. Now let's take a look at the Vesta Shipyard. Now this one is going to cost 15. Now this circle here is a victory point. So just playing the card will give you a victory point. Okay, so that's obviously a good thing. So we're going to use this. It's going to, now this resource, the star, is titanium, and you'll see what that's used for in a minute. Basically, this gives you a boost to your titanium production and gives you victory points. So that's pretty nice. And there's the victory point. There's the boost in the titanium production. So we spent, that was our 2 actions. So we have to end our turn. Purple is going to pass, and it's back to us. All right, we're going to open up the project card hand again. Okay, the red cards are event cards that allow you to perform immediate action. And once played, interestingly, the red cards are hidden from your opponent. So we're going to use this card now. It costs us 14. Okay, and it's hidden from the opponent. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Now this card has a requirement. Now you need to reach this before it can be played. So this is what I mentioned earlier in the video, that this one has a minimum of -8 degrees temperature before you can play it. And this action would allow you to place an ocean tile. So since we're not at that stage in the planet's development yet, we're going to skip to the next one. And this card allows you to place tiles that are unlike the standard greenery ocean tiles. This one in this case is a volcano, and you can see it comes along with a boost of temperature. Okay, it's going to cost us 18, but we're limited to these 4 spaces as far as where it can be placed. Okay, so if those spaces are no longer around, then the card is blocked. It cannot be played. So we have a choice of 4 spots. We're going to put it here. All right. We get the bonus, and we get the 2 bumps in temperature. And so we've used up our actions. Because purple's passed, we get to play immediately again. It's a 2-player game. And we're going to look at blue cards, which are active cards that give you access to actions or effects that are available for the rest of the game. Okay, so this one is an action which can be used once per generation. So and it's a lot of them are really cool. Like for example, this is spend 12 megabucks and get to place an ocean tile, and you can play titanium as if playing a space card. So it also offers a dynamic victory point as well. So the amount of victory points you receive from this card depends on your final board. So for example, with this card, you will receive 1 victory point for every card you've played that has a Jovian tag. And you may be asking, what's a Jovian tag? Well, if you remember at the top here, top right corner, those are the tags of the card. So for every card you've played that has one of those tags, you get a victory point at the end of the game. So that's where the Terraform rating comes in. That's your baseline, and then cards like these boost that Terraform rating to give you victory points. And victory points are kind of more variable depending on how the game goes. Now in this case, it's going to be pretty expensive. So it has a space tag, okay, as I mentioned. So we can use titanium to reduce the price, and each titanium we spend allows us to reduce the price by 3 megacredits. So let's say we, spend 2 of them, and you can actually see at the bottom here, see how it goes from 22 to 19. Okay, so it gives you the option to spend those titanium in lowering the price of these particular cards because of the tag that it has. So we're going to spend 16. Why not? And we'll spend 3 titanium. Gives us the the victory point bonus there. Now we're going to look at the Immigrant City. Now this is card that offers an effect, and the effect automatically happens when a specific situation occurs. So it's triggered basically. So each time a city tile is placed, including this one, increase your mega credit production by 1 step, for example. So this has a resource production requirement. So if you see, you have to decrease your energy production by 1 step and decrease your mega credit production by 2 steps in order to place a city tile. So you can see the bottom part of the card is a requirement in order to gain the bonus here. So you can't use it unless you've got the resources to produce, the production to reduce. The mega credit production can go down to -5. That's the lowest it can go. So can't use this card, so we're going to skip ahead to the next one. We don't have enough mega credit. Well, it's saying we don't have enough mega credits to use this card either. However, since it has a building tag, we can use the steel resource to reduce the price. So the little hammer there is steel. And every steel you spend reduces the price by 2 mega credits. So we'll spend 4 steel. We get to play the card for free. Well, not exactly for free. We're spending steel, but anyway. So that's where you got to keep an eye on those tags and look for opportunities to lower the price. Now these are the additional actions. Then we'll touch on scoring, and then you'll be basically ready to play. So basically the additional actions, for example, you can, once you get enough plant resources, you can convert them to a greenery. Okay, so, and that increases the oxygen level by 1 step and increases the terraform rating by 1. So you just click down here on that little icon. Do you want to convert the 8 plants? Yes, we do. Okay, and it's available even if the oxygen level is maxed out, but you don't get any terraform rating increase if that's the case. It's only if you actually have an effect. And so it's giving us a choice here. We'll choose right there, and we get the bonus steel for placing there, which is great. All right, and another option is once you gather 8 heat resources, you can convert them to temperature, and you increase the temperature by 1 step. As long as you increase the temperature level by 1 step, you get a terraform rating increase. So we've got 16 of them, so we're going to be able to convert 8 heat to increase the temperature, and you're going to see that boost there. And that was our action. So we're going to end the turn, and purple is going to pass. Thank you very much, very kind of you. And then we'll move on to the effects tab. Okay, so the effects tab are those active cards, those blue cards, you remember. So this is where the effects are, and so you can always hover over the effect to see what this one is about. If you remember, this one says whenever any tile is placed, you gain, or city tile is placed, you gain 2 mega credits. Okay, so the red border that applies there, that you see there, means it applies to any player. All right, so we'll go to standard projects. We're gonna build a city, and we're going to, now you can see it's pretty broad there, but we're going to want to say place it right here. Line up for some victory points, get a plant resource. There we go. Okay, and because of the card's effect, we gained an additional 2 mega credits. Okay, now the actions, these ones are blue cards as well, and actions are used once per generation, if you'll recall. So we have 8 heat to spend, so we can increase the terraform rating by 1 step, basically. So this one is pretty straightforward. We're going to trade that 8 heat, and we get an extra terraforming rating point. Now we have to end our turn because those were our 2 actions, but purple has passed, so we get right back into it. We still have 3 actions here. Now, some actions are going to help accumulate resources that give you victory points at the end of the game. So this one, you can see, add 1 microbe to this card. So we're going to play this one, and we're going to add to our tardigrades card here, and that's perfect. All right, now in this, the tutorial wants us to end the turn here. Normally you get another action, but it doesn't really matter because your opponent has passed already, so we're still good. So we're going to also take this action. So the ants, card here. This action allows you to steal from other players to gain the resource for yourself. Now, I think in this case we have to steal from ourselves, if I'm not mistaken, because purple isn't doing very much. But then we can take a resource from one card, add it to the other card here, and that's pretty cool. And then if you look at this particular, the GHG producing bacteria, this is where you can accumulate resources to be used later. So we're going to use this card. Okay, we're going to spend the two microbes for this card, from this card, to raise the temperature by 1 step, but it's a minimum 4% oxygen required. So it's kind of a late game card in many ways. So we'll confirm that. So you're going to be accumulating a bunch of other resources on cards and all that stuff. There's a lot of interactions, so it's endlessly fascinating. Now we're going to look at scoring. If we've maxed out the temperature, we've maxed out the oxygen level, we've got the 9 ocean tiles down, the game ends at the end of that particular generation. So we're going to look at milestones. Now, milestones are special accomplishments you can claim, which give you 5 victory points at the end of the game. You claim it by paying 8 megacredits, and you can only claim it by 1 player. So once you've hit the milestones, so we have a terraform rating of at least 35, we're going to take the terraformer milestones. You're going to want to keep an eye on these because you can only collect 3 of the 5. Awards can be funded at any time, but are only awarded at the end of the game. So you're going to want to look to buy these when you think you can actually, qualify for them. Otherwise, you might be giving your opponent victory points. So each award rewards players for a specific achievement. The player that comes in first position scores 5 victory points, and the second scores 2 victory points. And again, only 3 of the 5 awards may be funded in total. And their funding cost actually increases, starting at 8, then 14, and finally 20. So there's a lot to consider here. Now, we're the player with the most tiles in play, so we'll take the Landlord Award, okay? And right now we're up 9-6, but that can change. So you have to be careful because the game, once those awards are available, people are going to be gunning for them. So it's, that's just the way the game works. I love how I move my mouse around. I can kind of peek around the planet there. Purple passes again. And then once all the global parameters have been maxed, then we're going to pass. Once everyone's passed, then it's the end of the game. And as I said, we go into the final production phase here as we finished up our action. And then the first step is plant conversion. Since there is a final production phase, you might be able to perform plant conversions for extra victory points. And it has magically given us 15 victory points to convert. So we're going to put that in a spot where we're going to obviously be looking for our own cities and where we can best place things. So we're going to take this one right here. Okay, and there's kind of method to my madness. We spend 8, but we get a bonus 1 plant from placing there. Okay, and now we've got the opportunity to convert yet again. So we can place, say, right here. We spend the 8 again, and there we go. So not a bad final plant conversion. Okay, now we no longer have enough plants to worry about that, so we're going to end that. Purple is going to kindly pass, or at least they're going to finish whatever conversion they were able to do. And then we're going to tally the final total. As I said, the terraforming rating is basically the base of the score. So that's where the scoring starts from. And then we, move from there. Okay, so we look at next at the awards, and 5 victory points are given to the winner of each award, the 2 victory points to whoever's in second, unless there's only 2 players, because otherwise that wouldn't make any sense. So the game is going to, in this case, the digital edition is going to add that all up for you. And then we look at the milestones, and those are again the ones that you claimed when you buy them, and they are your award to score. And then we've got the greenery. So every greenery gives a victory point. And the cities score 1 victory point per adjacent greenery, whether you own it or not. And then points for project cards. So each victory point given by a project card is added to the player's total. You remember some of those were variable. And that includes the hidden points for event cards and the dynamic victory points, which we touched on. And then we reveal the winner. And if there are 2 players with the same amount of points, the tiebreaker is the one with the most mega credits. And I think we're going to claim victory over the somewhat apathetic purple beginner corporation. And they're the final stats. So anyway, we hope this quick walkthrough gave you a sense of the game. Now there's a lot of interactions, there's a lot of things to consider, lots of deep strategy with this one, but the game itself is actually fairly straightforward, and it has a very kind of Euro type feel. I think if you like Euro games in general, this is one that you're going to want to look at, even though it's not a traditional theme for a Euro. And for those of you who love deep strategy, I think this is going to give you a lot to chew on. So anyway, hope this tutorial, walkthrough gave you a good sense of how to play, and I hope it was helpful. And if you did get some value from it, please take a moment and like and subscribe to the channel. It is a big help to us, and we are always looking to give you the best possible content. Please comment as well in the comment section down below, and we look forward to seeing you here next time on Legendary Tactics.